Hi all, my name is Akhil. I'm working as a senior backend developer at QED42. This video is to show you a quick way to start using Drupal Canvas AI within a site template. So if you're new to site template, it's basically a new way to get started with Drupal. When you install a site template, you will be getting a proper website. It's similar to the Uvami profile where we install it and we'll get recipe content type part, recipe contents and all. So the difference is that site templates usually uses Drupal Canvas. So once you install it, you'll get a proper theme and the theme would have a proper design system. Currently, there are multiple site templates are available in Drupal. Some of them are paid, some of them are free. And for this demo, I'll be using the Pulse site template. This is the Pulse site template page in Drupal.org. It's created by Fox at QED40. This site template is tailored for medical healthcare websites. So I have downloaded it with Composer and I have also followed these installation instructions to install it locally. So here it is. It comes with a lot of demo pages as well. So I'll just show you a few pages. And if we edit a page, and in the library section, we can see all the components that are shipped with these site templates, and we can use these components to build new pages once we install it. So now, let's start by installing the Canvas AI module. Canvas AI is a submodule within Drupal Canvas, so you don't need to download it separately. So I'll go ahead and install it from here. And while this is installing, another prerequisite is you should have an AI provider setup. So for this demo, I am using OpenAI provider, and I'll just quickly show the models selected as well. So I have used GPT 5.2. This is the basic, the default configuration. So once you install OpenAI provider, it will select these models as the default models for these operation types, and I have not changed it. Let's see if it's installed. Okay, Canvas AI module is now installed, and we can verify that by loading the Canvas page. And once you install it, you will get this AI panel window in Drupal Canvas. Let's see if it's working or not. If you get a proper response, means everything is working correctly. Let's wait. Yeah, so we got the response, it's working correctly. Our aim is to build pages with Drupal Canvas AI chatbot. So if I ask it to build a new page on heart diseases, it should be able to build a page for me. And it will out of the box, but the problem is the end result, the page it generates won't look good, because even though AI can see the components present in the design system, it doesn't know how to assemble them. It doesn't know, let's say, if there are 2 hero banners, how these hero banners are different, or when to use each of these banner. Or if a component has 3 or 4 variations, how these variations are different and when to use each of them. So it doesn't get this context by default. And one way to give this extra context is by going to, so once you install Drupal Canvas AI, you can go to configuration, AI, Canvas AI settings. And here we have this component description section. And this section basically provides a form which lists all the components, and it provides a description field to the component, its props and slots. So you can use this field to give extra instructions on how to use the individual components. For example, for the Pulse site templates, if you look at the assembly of the current page, all the sections are wrapped in a space container element. So components are not directly added to the page. Most of them are child inside the space container element. So this is a knowledge specific to this site template. So you have to come here and find the space container component, and within its description, we need to give the extra instruction that use this component as a wrapper and place all the components inside this component. So these kind of instructions should be given. This is actually a tedious process, because if the design system has a lot of components, you would have to manually give a lot of context. Sometimes you would require the help of the front-end team or design team, because you might not be knowing how each of these components are, should be used. So now what you can do is, instead of giving instructions to individual components, you can create 2 to 3 demo pages using these components. So here within this template, I have added 3 article pages. I'll just open them side by side. So each of these are article pages, but they are structured differently. So the first one, I'm not using any image. So whatever image you see here is the default image component. So the first one uses a hero image, then it has a pattern with image on the right, text on the left, then that changes. Text is now in the right, image is on the left. Then there are some cards here. There is a carousel component here, and again text. The other information is at the bottom, and there is an FAQ section here. So this is the first version of article. Now, if you look at the second one, which is about understanding call store, it also starts with the hero banner. And here the other information is at the top, and there is an intro text here. Then there is another section with text on the right and image on the left with a heading and subheading. Then text, 3 cards, and a final CTA. And the third one uses a different structure. So it has the read time and all. The intro is structured like this. Then we have an image with some expandable sections here, carousel, cards, and CTA. So these 3 articles are following different structure. And now what we will do is we will use these articles as reference and share them with an AI coding agent and ask it to see how the components are assembled in these articles. And then based on that, we will be generating a guideline. The agent will generate a guideline for us. So for that, you need to go to this repository, which is a skill that I have created to automate this task. So clone it to the project's root. So I'm cloning it to the project root. It's now cloned. And if you look at it now, it contains a .cloud folder, and there is a skill.md file. This is what the agent is going to use to generate the article page guidelines for us. So I'm going to use Cloud Code for this demo, but skills are now generic. Almost all the coding agents use it. So if you have Codex or Gemini CLI, this should work. So I'll just move this .cloud folder out of the, no, that's right. I'll just place it at the root level. Yeah, so the cloud folder is now at the project root, and we don't need the parent folder now, so I'll just delete this. Now that we have added the skill, I'll launch Cloud Code. And to use a skill, I just need to add a /, and the skill's name would appear here. Hit enter. And the agent will ask the ID of the pages that we have created in Canvas, followed by page type, whether it's an article or it's a landing page or product page or event page. So I'll say I want to generate lines for articles. The page IDs are, let me get the page IDs from here. It's 12, 13, 40. 12, 13, 40. So now what Cloud will do is it will export each of these demo pages and see how the components are assembled. Then it will identify the theme we have. Then it will go to the components section of the theme, which is where the Singularity components are defined, and check the twig file, CSS, component definition, and it will, based on that, it will get an understanding of how the component would render and then how these components are assembled together in a particular page and what kind of content is placed in those components in that particular page. And based on that, it will generate the guideline for us. And this is gonna take 5 to 6 minutes. So let's wait till this gets completed. And okay, so here Claude has generated the guideline, and it took around I think 8 minutes. And here within the status, we can see it's checking the Pulse theme, which is the theme of this Pulse site template. Then it checks the CSS files, global CSS and all, and it checked the component YAML file. And so this guideline would be placed in the project root. I'll just give yes. So yeah, here we can see it ran for almost 8 minutes. And the guideline document is now saved in the project root. Let me check. Yeah, here I can see article page guidelines. Once the agent generates the guideline for us, next step is to install the AI context module. So I have downloaded it using Composer. AI context is basically the context control center module. So go ahead and install it. All right, our AI context is also installed. Reload the page. Now go to the context controls. Click on the context control center icon and go to context items and click on add a new context item. I'll just copy the title from here, the guideline plot generated first, and I'll give the same thing in description and purpose as well. And then click on the source mode here in content and copy this, paste it here and save it. Click on edit and I'll just quickly verify the context generated by agent. So there are some rendering constraints. Then it has created a table with the options for like what all options are there in the space container component and the color, the background color that gets rendered when this option is selected. And then it also added a typical use column there. Then the same kind of listing is there for the space heading section. Then there is a section giving information about the spacing. So if the padding medium is selected, this much spacing is going to be there between the components and when to use it. Then there is it has also generated patterns. So pattern A, it says to use hero banner, and then for pattern B, use content details and how to use that element. And it's a very detailed guideline. And then there is a content to pattern mapping section, which says, for example, common questions or Q&A, use pattern J. So pattern J is an FAQ section built with accordion. Then for article conclusion and author bio, use pattern K. And it identified all these patterns from the reference articles that we shared. And then there are some constraints. So let's go ahead. So this is already saved. And now go to the settings. And first we need to set a higher value for the token budget. So the default value is 1200, which is not a total sufficient. Just update it to 15,000. Save. Then go to agents. So Drupal Canvas AI is shipped with 4 agents. So there is an orchestrator agent, which is the main agent that you interact with. So when you type something, you are directly interacting with the orchestrator agent. And then based on the task, the orchestrator agent delegates it to the corresponding sub agent. So what we need to focus are these two agents. So we have the template builder agent and page builder agent. These are responsible for, creating a full page or updating the page. So updating the page is not yet available, but the main difference between template builder agent and page builder agent is that template builder agent is designed specifically to create a complete page. So when you ask it to build a page for you, the orchestrator should be invoking the templates builder agent. Whereas page builder agent is designed for incremental page build. So you can place one or more components. You can ask the agent to add a hero banner tailored for a library website. Then the page builder agent would get invoked. Similarly, if you ask it to create an FAQ with 7 questions and answers on liver diseases, then at that time also the page builder agent is the one that gets triggered. So it's for incremental page build. To add the context to these agents, click on configure context items and select the context and click select always include context item. So since we have only one guideline here for articles, I'll use this always include context item. But you might be having even page, product page, like multiple page types would be theirs. And you would be generating guidelines for each of these page types. In that case, you can set it to use subscriptions, which is a way to conditionally include the context item. So based on the user input and prompt, the context control center would automatically determine the suitable context and that would get injected to the agent. So I'll select always include context item here and save it. I'll add the same to the template builder agent as well. And select always include context item and save it. And once that is added, let's test it. So come back to the Canvas UI, create a new page and open the chatbot. So in a real scenario, you will be getting, so if you are a digital marketer, you will be getting the content, right? And you don't want AI to generate the entire content for you, but you want it to properly distribute this content across multiple components. So I have created such a prompt here. Let me just copy and paste it. Okay, so this is the page I want to generate with the agent. So it has the publication read time, primary category, secondary category, publication date, other details, then the opening, then the section 1, it should have an image on the left and text on the right with some expandable topics. Then there is section 2 with 4 cards, section 3 with 3 cards, then section 4 is a 2-column layout and a final call to action. So ideally what you will do is you will say create this page and you will paste the content, and the agent would take the content and create the page for us. But for that to work properly, we need to add one more context item, because what I have observed is if you give content to the agent, the orchestrator in some cases would not pass the entire content to the corresponding sub-agent. So to make that work, come back to context control center and add one more context item. So I'll call this context for orchestrator. So give the same description and purpose. Let me just copy and paste the context text. Okay, I have pasted it, and I'm gonna make it H2. So this is a simple one-line addition. So when the user shares the content for a page, share that complete content with a sub-agent. So this is another use case of context control center. So ideally, this can be added in the system prompt of the orchestrator. But if you don't want to directly edit the agent, but still want to add new rules for it, you can use context control center, add that rule, save it, and then go to settings, agents. This time I'm going to select orchestrator, and I'll select the context for orchestrator and I'll set it as always include, because AI agents are configuration entities. So any change you make to the system prompt, it has to be exported and committed, otherwise it will get lost. Whereas context items are content entities, so you can directly add it in the production environment or dev environment as you wish, or you can even export it as a recipe and apply it. Okay, all right, now we have the proper setup. I'll ask the agent create the following page. I'll paste the contents and send it. So I have pasted the entire article content, and page generation is going to take again 2 to 3 minutes. So let's wait till it generates the page. And here I can see the second status, designing the page. So designing the page means the orchestrator has forwarded the request to the template builder agent. So this is the status you should be looking for when you are trying to build a complete page with the Canvas AI. Alright, now the page has been generated. Let's see how the page looks. So let me just expand the preview as well. So it has added the hero banner, then here the topic is incorrect and sleep is not a luxury text. So let me just compare it side by side. Then we have the sleep is not a luxury, it's a biological necessity. That text is here, but there is a conclusion section here. Then we have the section with image on the left and 3 expandable sections. And here we have a section with 4 cards. And the agent added 4 cards, but all these 4 cards are at the same level, so they don't look good here. Then we have the next section, and the author details, it's Dr. Sarah, which is also correct. So the agent built the page for us, but there are some, gaps. The first thing is we have an unwanted conclusion section here. So basically, it's not a problem with how the AI generated the output. It's more of a behavior of this component. So this component is called space content details, and it has a conclusion prop. So if no value is provided for this prop, it will get always rendered with the default conclusion. So the agent might have only provided values for the text publication date and the other props, and it might have left the conclusion prop empty. And the component, since there was no value, it rendered the default value. Similarly, here it rendered the 4 cards. So our agent doesn't know that how adding 4 cards in the same row would look like. So these things are not covered in the initial guideline. And this is where the human in the loop part comes. So the guidelines we got with Claude needs to be refined, needs to be tested first, and based on the output, we have to refine it multiple times till we get a reliable, till we start getting a reliable output from AI. So what I have done is I have tried this multiple times, and I have generated a guideline which works. So I will add the updated guideline to the context control center and show you what all changes were added. And based on that, we can try the same prompt and see how the output is different. So I'll go back to the context control center section, context items, edit the article page assembly guidelines. Then go to the source and I'll delete this and I'll paste the updated guidelines. Alright, I have pasted the guideline. Let me show you what all changes were made. What I have done is I have added context specific to some of the components. For example, if we go to this section, I have added a section for these 3 components. So if you're for the space content detail component, if the conclusion is not required, then set the prop to empty to prevent it from rendering the default value. Similarly, when using image card and dark background image card, if the card is just for displaying some text, if it is not linking to any other page, then set all these props as empty, because otherwise it will display date, read time, primary category, all these things in the card, which is not great when it is specifically to display some text. Then I have also added another section. Let me just scroll to that. Okay, on how the cards should be arranged horizontally. If there are up to 3 cards, use only 1 row. But if there are more than 3 cards, if there are 4 cards, use 2 plus 2. If there are 5 cards, then 3 plus 2. So 3 cards in the first row, 2 cards in the second row. So I'm giving this knowledge here. And then some rules like never place more than 3 cards in space flexi. So space flexi is the component it uses to arrange the components, arrange card horizontally. So I have added that knowledge here. Then some guidelines on the character limit. So do not add more than 20 characters for the card title. Then I have also added some section about not using blocks. So sometimes the agent uses blocks, but for articles, I don't need it to use block components. So I have added that guideline as well, like never add any blocks. So these are the changes. So these are the things specific to this template. So it might be different for the template that you are going to test it. So first we need to test how the output of the agent looks with the guideline we template with AI. Then that needs to be refined like this. So I'll save it. I don't need to update the mapping again because it will automatically load the updated content. So if you look at the previous page, all the components are using the default image. So whatever image you see here, these are all the default images that are part of the component. Because out of the box, it cannot look at the media library and select the appropriate image for you. It would require a separate RAG setup, and these images has to be indexed first. Then we need to add specific tools for it. But out of the box, the agent will not. It doesn't have the ability to look at the media library and select new images. So once the page is generated, these images should be updated manually. Okay, so let's open a new page and I will copy the same prompt. Create the following page. And let's wait till it completes the task and page gets generated, and we can compare it with the previous output. Okay, the page has been generated. Let's check it. This is a much cleaner page than the previous one, and let me just expand it. Here we can see the conclusion section is no longer there. Then the image, this section remains unchanged, but the most important part, here it's now using a 2x2 layout, just like the instruction that we gave, instead of adding all the 4 cards in a single row. And here it had around 3 cards, so it placed it in a single row. And yeah, so this is how you can easily start using Drupal Canvas AI within a site template. And even let me also try generating one more page without providing any content. So and we can see how the page gets generated. So here in the example we had it was more specific, like add 4 cards, then create a section with image on the left. Those kind of instructions are there. But now let's see a much more generic prompt and verify if it's also generating a reliable output. So I'll just copy the prompt and paste it. Here I am asking it to generate a new article page about how to manage type 2 diabetes, and this page should be targeted towards middle-aged people struggling with type 2 diabetes. So let's wait till it generates the page and see how it looks like. Alright, the page is now generated. Let's see. Let me expand this. We have a hero banner. We have this section. Then it followed a zigzag layout with image on the left and text on the right. So it added 2 sections like that. Then there is a section with some text on tips for exercise medication. And then there is another section with the text. Then it added a carousel. And it even added an FAQ section. And then there is a disclaimer and a CTA. So again, this time also it's not following a monotonous pattern because the guideline we generated is generic. So if I try the same prompt again, it will be creating a page in another format. And yeah, so I would say this is also good apart from a few spacing issue here. But yeah, that's it. So do try it out and let me know in the comments how it worked for you. See you in another video. Thank you.